Dude,
I mean,
like...
For an antisocial comedian, it's amazing for me just watching the world burn. Okay, hold on, that sounded terrible then. But without the deaths, without no more people to die.
You're going to get back onto 9/11 again in a minute. It's like, let's celebrate 9/11. No!
Hello, Internet. You're listening to the In Your House Comedy podcast with the Babyface and his fellow funny friend. Now hold on to your butts. Keep your arms and legs inside the podcast at all times. Prepare to have an autographical orgasm in 3, 2, 1.
Seems to be working this time.
It's holding up now. Okay, cool, let's go. Okay, welcome to episode 22, everybody, of the In Your House Comedy podcast. I am here with my fellow funny friend from around the comedy circuit, Alex Plant. Normally I'd give a big spiel that way. Normally I'd give you a big spiel and all that, but all I'm going to say this time is Merry Christmas, Alex. Merry Christmas.
Bar humbug, piss off. It's like, honestly, dude, like, it's November. We've only just got past blowing stuff up, and literally we're not even past remembering fallen soldiers. So, like, it's a bit like, it's a bit soon. It's a bit soon, dude.
You know, I never thought about that before, actually. Just how ironic it is. So you have Remembrance Sunday just after a holiday, just all about blowing stuff up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
trying to blow up Parliament and failing, and then all of a sudden you've got Remembrance Sunday. It's
I've never quite understood why we celebrated Bonfire Night. I've never quite got that at all.
It's all to do with remembering. Essentially, it's to do with the whole democracy thing. So it's, he was basically going to take away civil liberties and all that sort of stuff by blowing up Parliament to make a point. So it's basically it's the whole George Bush don't give in to terror thing. So I was
going to say, so should
that sort of thing.
9/11 in that case then? Actually, no one went about it. It's completely opposite. Take that bit back.
Yeah, it's the opposite thing, dude. That happened. That wasn't stopped.
Okay, yeah, I see the point now. Okay, I'm with you.
It's like Jesus Christ. How dark do you want to get? Too soon, dude. Too soon. Jesus.
So
they've only just elected another president, and they still haven't got the idiot out. This is the thing. Like, honestly,
I was shocked by that. I really didn't expect Trump to lose. It really surprised me.
Oh, mate, it's just like, honestly, the news coverage was amazing to watch, because it was just there was this sort of thing going on. I mean, like, even the news reporters were literally like, "Oh God, this is going to take ages," sort of thing, and the bloke's an absolute idiot, and he's claiming all these things and they kept going without any evidence. It's like, without any evidence, he's basically just spouting shit. Basically, is what they wanted to say.
But anyone before, though, really.
Yeah. Since when has that stopped Trump? But anyway, the thing was, like, watching some of the newscasts and stuff, it was hilarious, because obviously Florida's like his home turf, like, all that sort of stuff. It's like literally. He was obviously rooting for Florida, and they were going on. They were doing like a little news round and all that sort of stuff, and they were going around with the camera.
You want about more like after the election, when they were like getting the votes together and that?
Yeah, when they were getting the votes together, all the votes were coming in, and literally they were going around, and it was Latinos for Trump. So they interviewed a load of these Latino Trump supporters. I was like, dude, that's like the Jews voting for Hitler.
Yeah.
It's like, honestly, it's like walking out of like the Holocaust and the showers and going, you know what? It's not that bad, right?
He had some
good
organisational.
It was a rather good shower, so I'm gonna vote again. The hot water worked.
Yeah, it was cold.
Yeah, the hot water worked. Like, had an odd smell to it, but apart from that.
Funny enough, gas bills were incredible.
Oh God,
incredible.
Jesus. Even
Oh,
that's
we're not
too
off to a good
soon.
start.
Like honestly, like I think it's such a fine line that we walk when it comes to edgy comedy. I love going to the line, but I think that there's this sort of
me and you aren't good though, 'cause I think me and you together though, I feel like we don't really know when that line is most of the time.
Oh no, I'm brash, so like my personality is fairly big and bold, and like at the end of the day, I don't really. My mind doesn't have a filter, so it just generally comes out. I'm probably somewhere, I am on the spectrum somewhere in regards to like all that sort of stuff. So
I think a lot of comics are. I think that makes sense when you think about what makes you know what I mean. Anyway, you know what I mean.
Yeah. In terms of what makes a comedian, I mean, we say the things that are generally inherently funny that other people don't say. We maybe have more of a latching on to. Yeah, very much so. Like we say the things that they don't really want to say, but they are quite funny. I mean, the laugh ooh. Jimmy Carr said that the laugh ooh is like the pinnacle of laughter.
Oh,
making someone laugh and then them go and then their brain kicking in and being like, oh, whoa, hold on a sec.
Yeah, they feel bad for laughing.
The pinnacle. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's an instinctive reaction to laugh. Like laughing is instinctive.
Yeah,
it's only when your brain kicks in that you go, oh, that was a bit much. It's like I shouldn't be laughing at this. Moral sense and sensibilities.
That's why a drunk crowd is really good to do it to, but then a drunk crowd also forgets that it's not a conversation you can't just join in.
Yeah, doing it in front of a drunk crowd. Like as the night goes on, I mean, there's a sweet spot when doing it, and it depends where you're doing it as well. I mean, as a genuine rule, like in a comedy venue, when you've got a great MC, they're really good at sort of sorting out the crowd and dealing with the drunk stuff. But there is a point where you get to like the third act, and depending on how long it goes on for, and you get to like maybe the headline or whatever, and the headline is whether he likes it or not, is dealing with the drunk part of the crowd.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Or not that is,
and for longer,
a nice
like
merry level. Yeah, for twice the time, whether or not it's a nice merry level, and and that's why the skill level for doing headlines is much higher.
Yeah, man. I can see that completely. I did that gig just before the lockdown in Leicester, and it was a crazy crowd. Like it was filled. There was no social distancing whatsoever, like at all.
Yeah.
But really rowdy crowd. They were all there. They all came because it was like a charity thing. But they were all really drunk. But Joe just held it together so well, and then Tommy at the end as well did like a long set, and it was just Joe killed it that night, like emceeing it all. I mean,
the doing the Scouse gigs. I mean, like honestly, like playing Croxley was interesting, but I love it. Like Liverpool's like my sort of second home in regards to it, because I absolutely love the people, and there's so much. I have so much respect for those guys. I mean, I did a podcast with these two guys that I met. One of them's Aaron, and who I invited to the quiz, but he couldn't do it. I
don't think I actually even messaged him, to be honest. I meant to.
I obviously copied you in. I copied you in on the message I sent to him anyway.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, you messaged. Yeah.
But he does this podcast called The Drunken Side Quest, and he did a 4-hour-long podcast raising money for food banks in Liverpool because of obviously the whole, Boris Johnson not feeding the kids outside of term time and all that sort of stuff, which honestly is amazing. And honestly, if anyone is watching this and they want to check it out, have a look at the Drunken Side Quest. Just tap it into Facebook, it will come up, and they've got a Just Giving page. Please please donate to that, because honestly, it's a fantastic cause. And honestly, that place is my second home. But as I said on the podcast, like, you go there and you see this extremity of poverty spectrum, of, you know, people on the street, like, honestly, so many people on the street, and it's crazy. But at the other side, you've got the friendliest, most welcoming people in the same bit, and like, honestly, like, the people on the street are the friendliest, most welcoming people as well. And it's like, these guys have been so hard done by, and it's like, guys, just, you know, it's crazy.
I've always had that. I mean, it's weird because I've talked about homeless people on the last podcast too. Like, I was saying that I've always had good interactions with the one in Birmingham. I think Joe was saying he's had bad interactions with the one in Leicester. But yeah, I'm more like you were saying there. Yeah, most of the time they seem pretty sweet. Yeah,
it's weird. I mean, I do get the bad thing. I mean, the worst thing is this accent. The second you turn around and you say no with this accent, they're immediately like, "Oh, fucking top,
no. Get away, sir."
It's like, "I'll beat you off in my shoe." You know, it's like that sort of thing. I mean, the issue is, yeah, but it gets their back up, and that's the thing. But at the end of the day, it is an issue that needs to be dealt with, because it's just getting absurd. You know, you see it so much.
Yeah,
like, honestly, you see so much of it.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's one of them, though, isn't it? Like, there's so many issues that need to be dealt with at the moment. It's so easy to say, well, there's this one we need to deal with, and this one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like, which issue do you target as well?
How do you target one and then without the other one as well?
There's addiction and all sorts of other things that fall into place. So, you know, the whole thing is a bit of a rabbit hole, bit of a spiral. So, yeah, it's difficult, but at the same time, I mean, you know, people need feeding in these food banks. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a thing of, like, honestly, if you've got, I know money's tight for a lot of people on furlough and stuff like that, but if you've got a couple of quid, or, you know, you bought far too much in the first lockdown, now we're in lockdown light, you know, it's like regular lockdown, just less fattening. So, you know, we can obviously
much less effective.
Yes, but we've still got loads and loads of dried pasta. So if you've got lots and lots of dried pasta, just take some of the spare stuff that you're never going to eat, honestly, like, unless you're a student, right? Take some of that dried pasta, take it to a food bank, right, and help feed some people who might be right out in the rear at the moment.
No, it's true, man. You see it everywhere. Like, at the moment, it is a like, obviously much more of a thing right now, and it's hard to look at. But you hear a lot of people saying that they don't like going to food banks and that because of, like, the pride side of it. And don't.
We're a very proud nation.
Well, yeah, but fuck that. That's literally my take on it. Fuck being proud, man. Pride went out of my life ages ago, dude.
Like, dude, we are honestly that proud that foreigners take the mick out of, like, how proud we are. I mean, in regards to simple things as a Craig Campbell joke of, if an American got a pizza, it'd be like, "I asked for it without olives. What are you doing, dickhead? Oi, oi!" Whereas the British are like, "Oh, we could just remove the mushrooms ourselves."
Oh yeah.
It's a bit of breakfast there. That's it. We don't, like, honestly, we're so proud. Like, honestly, we're like, "Oh, well, I didn't ask for it without mushrooms, but screw it." You know,
that's like the keep calm, carry on thing as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's one thing I've always thought about, like, England, especially, just so much more chilled about everything than America. Like, we had the lockdown, I think it was something like a month or 2 months before America to begin with, and then they were bitching and protesting before we were still.
Yeah, it was like, "How dare you make me wear a mask?" It's
how dare you?
Well, do you really see the need to protest that with guns? Like, it's like, "How dare you?" It's like, whoa, it's a mask, dude.
There was one the other day, weren't there? There was a protest in Manchester for not wearing masks. Like, what the Fuck, man, it's such a weird thing to protest about.
Yeah, in America, it's like, you're taking away my civil liberties. It's like, mate, you've got a gun. Like, honestly, giving you a mask makes it much easier for you to rob places. So technically, they're doing you a favour.
And usually those people, most of them would probably walk around with bandanas anyway. If you walk around with a gun, you're probably going to be walking around with some kind of face covering to begin with anyway.
Yeah.
Now they're being told to do it. No.
Yeah.
Man. You don't know how annoyed I've got over the past couple of days. People.
Oh, mate, it's crazy. Like, honestly, I mean, one of the weirdest things for me during lockdown, I'm still working, but one of the, like, I gave up on Tinder a long time ago, and I switched over to Bumble, right?
Yeah.
But I kept Tinder open for the simple reason that it contains so much material. It is just absurd. It's crazy. You know, and I'm fairly open in terms of the fact that it's like, you know what, like, if I get a funny message, I'm going to use that. And like, I'm fairly open in regards to it. But the thing with Bumble, I mean, like, you can choose, like, I'm quite a picky guy into being 6'6", so it's got filters, so I can choose how tall she is, and I can choose whether or not she's got kids and all sorts of stuff. Like, I can choose all these different parameters. I can choose, you know, her beliefs.
That it's because you're less shallow. Is that more shallow or less shallow? I don't know. Than just a picture.
I think it's more. I don't know. I think it's maybe less shallow because I think you know what you're looking for. Yeah. But I think in many ways it's more just out of, like, at the end of the day, the height thing, which is the filter that I have on, is to do with concern for my back. So you know, it's basically for health reasons, right? It's like,
people have never thought about that.
I pick my women based upon my spine health, my orthopedic health. You know, it's that sort of stuff. So
that would be really hard to do, wouldn't it? Like, pictures in my head right now, I keep imagining like Slender Man trying to have sex.
Oh God, mate! I look like a daddy long legs try to get out of a window when I'm dancing. So when that's involved, like, honestly, I've always said that there's a little bit of an issue with being so tall, that the signal takes a little while to get from there to my arm or to my leg or whatever. So there's literally a delay in what I do. So I've accidentally done that, and by the time I've realised that I've done it, it's like too late. It's already flailing into the middle of nowhere. So, but, you know,
it actually wouldn't work though with premature ejaculation. Though you wouldn't be able to use that excuse.
Well,
no, it should take. If it takes longer to get there, it should, you know, take longer.
Yeah, I can't say that it's an issue that I've suffered with. In all fairness, getting into the nitty gritty. Yeah, I mean, I have the other problem, right? As a bloke, I faked it
too sometimes. Yeah,
I faked it, right? And I'm like literally, like, women are like, oh yeah, no, like, no, we fake it, men don't fake it. It's like, no, like,
we do. If you're drunk, if you're drunk and you know it ain't gonna happen, they feel, but they don't, like, understandably, they don't get it.
Yeah, like, it's like, you know,
it's easier.
Obviously, it's much more difficult for us to hide because especially if you're wearing a condom or something, because you can't just, you know, it's like, you know, unless you quickly run to the bathroom and throw it away, or try and like have a little squirty gun or something and just quickly fill it up.
That's not the problem. You have to be prepared. You can do a quick pull-out release, shoot across the room, and you could carry on, but guys are not designed to do that. We can't just carry on straight away. So yeah, either way.
No.
Yeah, I was about to say either way you fuck, but either way you're not.
Yeah, true. See, the thing is, I've been looking into like all this sort of dating stuff because I've been writing a lot of material in regards to it. Because my little stand-up show, my one-line show, is called #Orcs, because I am an awkward man, and you know, in terms of my life and whatever, and things that I see in terms of my observations, it's generally awkward things.
Oh, okay,
so I've been sort of writing material, but there's some of the stuff when it comes to like online dating. Like, have you heard this thing recently? Like, celebrities are getting more lip filler injected so that people can see their lips through their mask.
Yeah, I've neso heard that, but that doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
Apparently it's probably led by Kim Kardashian or something, but like they're doing that. I'm sorry, but like lip fillers for me,
buy a smaller mask.
It's like I don't understand the concept of lip fillers. Like, I have never looked at a woman and gone, you know what would make her sexy? If she had lips like a fish.
Well,
I've never ever looked in the same way that I've never ever looked at a guppy and gone, I reckon that will give a fantastic blowjob.
That when they do,
you know what I mean?
No, because I kind of like it, but not to the difference when they look like a fish.
Getting a blowjob from a guppy? Oh, I didn't like this.
To be honest, I was originally going to go that way. I don't mind the huge lips, although when it's like a fish that's also had Botox, then it's a problem when it's too far, you know. And that was a problem when they weren't wearing masks. And if they're doing it now, that's okay.
I mean, sort of the other issue is like, you don't really want someone's lips to form a vacuum tight seal, do you? Because the pressure build up there, the pressure build up is going to be absurd.
You're going to lose it as well. Like when you have Botox in your head, it's not going to, it's going to lose that ability anyway.
Yeah, possibly. It's just I just can't understand some of this stuff. I mean, on the flip side of things.
Go on,
mate. You go on.
You want about that then, like with Kanye West when he was on Joe Rogan? Did you see any of that? No, you didn't. Oh, you need to watch some of that. Just try and watch some of it for like 20 minutes. 30 minutes in, he'll make his first point. It's amazing.
Jesus Christ.
Word salad the whole way through. I chat on random shit and don't make a point half the time, but oh god.
Jesus.
The first point, I can't even remember what it was, the point he made. I actually agreed with it in the end. I can't even remember what it was. Then he said something stupid afterwards. Yeah, you should watch that though, honestly, you'd appreciate it.
I'll have a look at it, definitely. I mean, the thing is, like, I ramble on. Like, I've always been told that I give a politician's answer because I never answer a yes or no question with a yes or no. I'll always waffle on for a bit. It's just how I do stuff. But the thing, like, going back to the thing, I mean, like, in regards to the whole, like, what is going on in regards to the plastic surgery thing and whatsoever. I mean, the one thing that I did find on the flip side of things is I did a corona test, COVID test recently, and like, I can now see why women don't enjoy giving blowjobs. Right? Right. I mean, gagging and crying. I mean, at least, well, in all fairness, it wasn't fully realistic because, like, obviously, it would be tears of disappointment normally. So, but like the whole, like, honestly, oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I've seen that. They stick it like right in, and then they do up the nose as well.
Yeah, it's like.
Did you actually have symptoms? Is that how you managed to get it?
No.
I don't know if it's something you can just get. It's so mixed, like,
You sort of, basically, if you get told to basically, you can only have one if you've got symptoms, right? But the thing is, like, you could just say that you've got a symptom, right? Because it could be tiny, right? It could, like, a cough could come for a day, like, especially when, like, you're vaping or smoking or whatever.
Yeah.
A new persistent cough could be randomly a smoker's cough during one day.
Exactly. You get it all the time anyway, you do.
So it could be the same thing. And of course, so I came into contact with someone who had tested positive. So I then had a test, and I came back negative. Now, this is the second or the third time that this has happened now. So I'm starting to think that I'm a Terminator because I keep coming back negative.
That's the only explanation. You must be a Terminator. Sent to
It's
the
like
future.
literally.
From the
Like,
future.
but the thing is, I mean, like, I was looking
all
at
about the middle class.
yeah. Speaking of films, though, like Mad Max is set in 2021.
Oh, who is it?
Mm.
Oh yeah, like
So,
Back to the Future was set in like what was that?
2012? Was it 12 or 15? 2015?
I think 15. It's already been ruined for me. I can't believe them anymore.
I know. Yeah.
Have you been watching any new films lately or any programs?
I've been watching. What have I been watching? Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
I've been watching, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
A bit of a Trekkie. I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek.
Wild guess which of the characters in Star Trek Discovery is your favourite one?
Ooh.
I just assumed the really tall guy.
Oh, Saru. Yeah, I like Saru.
So do I.
Yeah. Yeah. The captain. He's quite cool.
The captain now. I did watch it. I watched it for like 2 seasons, or the new lot that had come out. I stopped watching it. Just I'm lost with it now. Basically, I'm lost with it. Like I got like a season and a half in, and now it's just I didn't watch a bit, and I've tried to figure out where I watched it to. I'm lost. I've been.
Have you noticed with some of these films and TV shows how closely real life is following them? It's odd.
In what
like
sense?
V for Vendetta, right?
Oh yeah.
V for Vendetta is all about how they had the Mary Rose virus, which killed 100,000 people, and then obviously they elected in the government to try and deal with that. And by dealing with that, it was controlling government who started shutting down and locking down the people.
Yeah.
Right. And of course there was sort of angst and stuff at first, but then it became acceptable and a common thing until the point where you've got a subdued society. I hate to say it, but kind of happening a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's happening here, but China, for example, I think that's happening in China for a while. China. I've been happening for a while. China is fucked up, man. So much more than people realise. Like the whole those camps, I forget what it was now, but there's this whole like genocidal thing they've been doing and coming out. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, China. Yeah, but this is what happens when you've got a dictator, right? Which I think is what Donald Trump was trying to be, but he was more like a dick who looked like a potato. So you know, technically a dictator, but a different sense. But yeah, Trump, he was.
I always looked at Trump, and I still look at him the same way. He's just like an old guy flailing at a camera, you know, just throwing shit at the wall and just trying to keep in power. Like, you know, I don't think there's that much thinking into his stuff. He just cares about himself, and he's just doing what he could do to try and stay where he was. You know,
it was the thing of he did what he said he would do. And this is the thing, like a politician doesn't necessarily do that.
Oh yes, fully. Actually,
they promise stuff and never act on it. Yeah. Whereas the issue was that all the stuff that he promised was pretty damn stupid anyway, and he carried on doing the stupid shit basically.
You know what everyone's
like, well, he does what he says.
Yeah. I think I heard someone talk about it recently. I can't remember what it was. Like one of the things I quite liked, that I think a lot of people quite liked about his presidency, was just the fact it was like a guy rather than a politician. Didn't act like a politician, like you said, but he would wouldn't have all this red tape. He would just do stuff his own way. If he disagreed with people in his own place, he would just
send a tweet about it.
Yeah, which is crazy. But you know what I'm saying, though? It's a whole different way of doing this. Which I think is what it's just. I don't think they really thought about who was the guy that was doing it.
Yeah, which is why people sort of got behind it, because he did what he said he would do. And I think, but the issue is with that, it's like, oh yeah, but he did what he said he would do, right? But it doesn't make the stuff that he did any less stupid. If someone turns around and goes, "I'm going to cut my cock off," it's like, okay, it's like, see, I cut my cock off. Well, at least he did what he said he was going to do.
None of his word, at least.
It's still stupid.
I mean, I don't even think you can argue though that he was honest, because he wasn't. He admitted, like, didn't he, in that interview that he knew how bad Corona, like, that it was worse at the beginning, but yet at the beginning he was also saying how chill it was, basically.
Yeah, he just contradicts himself at every turn. That was the issue. Like he could never be wrong, because he was like, I'm not a doctor, but it's like, no, you're not a doctor. So stop trying to give advice of a doctor.
You know what? It just feels
you're the president.
Just fucking injecting him with bleach and that, and there's a fucking epidemiologist or whatever, and he's sitting right in front of him when he's saying this.
Yeah, who's like that?
How that was it, yeah.
It's like, oh, we should inject ourselves with bleach. It's like, I'm not a doctor, but have we tried injecting ourselves with bleach? It's like, no, like, dude, you die.
And we tried setting them on fire. That might get rid of the virus.
Yeah,
they went the virus on fire.
It's mad. It's just madness. But the thing is, like, the tensions are still so high in America. I've never I keep making a joke of it like it's American Civil War 2.0.
It is near it though.
It's so, like, the tensions are so high that honestly, like, I swear, with the whole Trump supporters and the kind of people who get behind Trump, like, Joe Biden's going to get popped at. But
you know what?
As he passes past the grassy knoll.
You know what? Though? I don't agree with that. I know I agree with it, sorry, but I think it's more because of, like, the spin that's put on it. Like, I don't know if it's the same every year, because I think this is probably the first year I've been really interested and paid much attention to it. But it's like, we talk about our elections here when we do them, and it's just reminding people to go vote. You talk about them, it's on the news. That's kind of it. Over there, like, you see the adverts. Like, when I watch, like, American wrestling, they have, like, the adverts on it. And
the slander campaigns are just absurd.
Not even that, do they talk about it like it's the Super Bowl? Like, which team will win this one? Oh my god! And it's like, you have to pick a side.
Yeah,
there's no middle ground. It's just that whole side. What is it? Side,
it's like the Brexit campaign.
Mentality.
It's like the Brexit campaign, but instead of, like, buying, like, putting stuff on the side of a bus, they put stuff on the side of, like, everything.
Everything, yeah.
It's like they just do everything bigger. Like, honestly, they have millions, like almost billions, in terms of election funds.
Yeah, like, that's only because they choose to put it there. Though we could still choose to put whatever percentage to it too. We just don't. That's stupid.
Well, no, we have the Electoral Commission, which states how much you can spend in terms of fundraising upon a campaign, so it's always equal. Whereas in America, it's private backers, so they can basically choose whoever.
That makes a lot of sense. See, that just makes I have to when you treat it like that, I don't see how it could ever be anything but that. Although I don't know if it's normally like that though. So
yeah, it's like every year. Like, some of the slander campaigns are hilarious. It's like Joe Biden will kill your lamb. It's like, literally, that was one of the campaigns.
Wow.
And Joe Biden's retaliation was, there's been a dog in the White House with every president apart from Trump.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, is that your retaliation to the fact that you're killing someone's lamb? It's like, dude, stop.
What was the other thing as well, which is ridiculous anyway, but he also didn't pardon the turkey that normally gets pardoned at Thanksgiving or something. Something like that?
Something,
I know there's normally one pardon.
I know what you're on about.
He didn't do it.
Yeah, it's mad, like, keeping up with the world at the moment. I swear the world's gone a bit loopy. I'm struggling to keep up with it.
A bit loopy.
Dude, I mean, like,
for an antisocial comedian, it's amazing for me just watching the world burn. Okay, hold on, that's sounding terrible then. But without the deaths, without more people to die.
You're going to get back onto 9/11 again in a minute. It's like, let's celebrate 9/11. No!
I don't want anyone to die, but I love to watch the world burn, basically. But on the next KD and Kd, I know. On the next KD and Kd,
That's counterintuitive. Yes. I don't want anyone to die, but here's a big gun. It's like,
Oh no, it's like
What?
watching. I don't know how else to say it. It's just fun. Like when
I'm
you watch
about to set a bomb off, but nobody wants to die. It's going to be filled with confetti.
As long as you set up the bomb safely, it's all good. That's what bonfire
You're basically like a shit Bane.
I am going to hold you all captive, but I won't hurt you.
I wonder what we bring first to my new body.
But I am covering 9/11 on the next Kd Hinken. We're doing it at the end of the month, the next one, but I'm doing a specific part of it. I'm not going to cover the whole thing because it's done to death, ain't it? You know, conspiracy theory. Well, obviously, that's the whole thing. But I mean, the true crime aspect of it. Do you know, like, what is the smoking gun, as they say, of 9/11?
Oh, the way that the tower collapsed, isn't it? It's something to do with the way, like, it should not have, gone the way that it should have.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So the way it collapsed because of where it hit it. You mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot with the actual towers because, a lot of people say that the jet fuel isn't. Well, they've redone the test. The jet fuel that was in there wasn't enough to like bend the steel and that.
Mm.
But that's just a whole different thing to get at, though. Because I don't. Just to clarify, I'm not one of those people that think it's like some freaking planned thing from the government that sent planes there. They're so dumb. Mm. But you never heard of Tower 7 though?
No.
How many towers collapsed around at the World Trade Center?
Well, they call it the Twin Towers, but I'm guessing this is a trick question.
Yeah, because there was 3. No one ever mentions Tower 7. There's like 11 towers in that center. You got the 2 towers, and then there's other buildings around them, smaller buildings, obviously, not the towers. So there's the 2 towers, and then there's these other building there, and then there's another building next to that, Tower 7, and that tower went down. It was never hit. They reported it an hour before it happened on the news. I mean, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. And it, just to clarify, it was a NSA. It had the world's largest Secret Service field office in there. It had some NSA stuff, some CSA stuff in there. I mean,
it sounds dodgy, but it also sounds very conspiracy theory. Like me and conspiracy theories, I'm very much a man of logic.
Yeah, same. I like evidence, and
it's quite fun to listen to people spout on about these weird and wonderful conspiracy theories. It was aliens who shot JFK. No, it wasn't. It was a bloke on a grassy knoll.
Oh, it wasn't, but. There were no person on the grassy knoll with JFK. I did so much research into that for that episode, man. Honestly.
Oh dear. I saw all the videos and stuff like that. It was literally like, when I was compiling the quiz, I saw all the videos. I was like, he's really put some effort into this.
I don't like reporting stuff unless there's evidence there. I hate saying something and then it coming up like, no, that didn't happen like that at all. I hate that.
Yeah.
I like to find out what's true. And JFK, I put a lot of evidence into that, and I fully think that it was a completely accidental shot from a Secret Service guy behind him. It's just the only thing that makes sense from the physical evidence to say.
Yeah.
Literally,
we'll never know.
Nah,
we will never know.
You can never know, man.
Who killed Marilyn Monroe?
Surely you believe in some conspiracy theories, though, because like people hear conspiracy theory. This is the problem. People hear conspiracy theory and they instantly think crazy crack nuts. But most of them are.
I like not so much conspiracy theories, but I like the stories, like the redacted files from World War II, which are starting to come up, like some of the secret missions and stuff like that. Like I love the history of war. Yeah, it's one of my like things. I adore it. And you know, there's these amazing. No, I like the history aspect. I like obviously, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. So all the inventions and stuff that have come out of obviously World War II and stuff like that, and you know, the pioneering use of radar and all this sort of stuff.
And most of it,
ingenuity, Barnes-Wallis and the bouncing bomb.
Yeah, a lot of it came from the Nazis as well, didn't it? A lot more, from what I gathered, came from the Nazis than us.
Yeah, because obviously they were funded like well before they invaded. So, you know, they were doing research into like rocketry and all that sort of stuff for the V2.
Before we even started all that stuff.
Yeah. Because we were on the back foot because we were the people essentially, you know, stopping an invasion. So, you know, they were the invaders.
Playing the defensive,
So, but the stories of like daring do as well. Like I love all that sort of stuff. I mean, like the raid on the sea docks with the essentially the commando unit that went in and basically crashed the destroyer into the sub pens and
big boats.
Well, it's a small naval ship basically. So you've got destroyers, cruisers, battleships, aircraft carriers. So they basically wired for a destroyer called the Clemson, which was a lend-lease ship from America. So one of the American decommissioned destroyers, and they basically packed it full of explosives and crashed it into the sub pen. And at Normandy, it didn't blow up originally, and they were sort of waiting, and it was meant to basically blow up this sub pen, and a load of them got captured, and they were all sat there. Funny enough, Jeremy Clarkson did a documentary on this, and they're all sat there being interrogated, like, oh, why did you crash it into the thing, and you know, all that sort of stuff. And like, you know, you knew that you were never going to destroy it by that, and then all of a sudden it just the timer went, and it just went and just blew the shit out of it.
How long? What kind of time after it was it? Like, you know, from when they got captured to when it blew up?
It was about 4 hours late.
Wow.
Like the timer was about, because obviously they didn't have accurate timers, right? So they used it was like a acid drip, like a mercury drip.
Yeah.
And it basically started eroding away, and once it eroded away, it would cause a flip in the switch and then go boom.
It was the thing that surprised me more was that the Nazis didn't notice, didn't think to check that it, or even comprehend there might be bombs in there.
Well, they were checking. They cemented it into the hull, and the way that the destroyer had hit this dry dock, it raised, and the bomb had sat on top of the dry dock. So it was in the perfect place.
Yeah.
And the Nazis and stuff went to go investigate. And of course, there were a couple on the ship, apparently. And apparently they got catapulted into the air. Apparently there was reports of, like, body parts, like, about 5 miles away. It's like, Jesus. But, yeah, it was one of the most daring do's. And that was the raid where Hitler turned around and said all commandos are to be treated as spies and not to be captured and to be shot on sight. So
that wouldn't have helped him still. That wouldn't help that situation.
No. See, I find it fascinating because
I like them.
One of my ancestors, obviously being part German, one of my ancestors on the German side, was part of Operation Valkyrie.
Recognise the name?
It's the briefcase bombing to kill Hitler. He was part of the assassination attempt. He was executed by Hitler. Yeah. Operation Valkyrie was the briefcase bombing to kill Hitler.
I don't think I recognise that at all. Like, tell the story, man. I don't know that at all. Like,
right. So basically, there were a number of assassination attempts to kill Hitler.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
And one of the assassination attempts, probably the one that they say came the closest was Operation Valkyrie. And Operation Valkyrie was was basically the briefcase bombing, where they had arranged one of the guys on the inside of Hitler's circle. They put a bomb in the briefcase, and they knew a meeting that he was going to go to and all that sort of stuff. And they basically were going to plant this briefcase and essentially leave the briefcase there and walk out, and it was going to blow up him and all of his generals in the room. At the last minute, Hitler switched locations, but didn't tell certain parts of the people that he'd switched locations. So of course the bomb still went off in the room that he was originally meant to be in.
And surely that would
which
give
is
him
what
where the information came from as well.
Exactly, which is why then he started hunting. They were almost all captured, I believe.
Oh, wow.
I think they were all captured and executed.
And it was one of your ancestors that was involved in that.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of my ancestors was on the German side, so he was on the intelligence. So he was on the sort of counter espionage side of things. So obviously it was a British-run operation. So joint between the Allies and some of the turncoats, double agents in the Nazi ranks at the time.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. See, I have no idea about what any of my German ancestors done. For all I know, they might have been Nazis. I don't know.
See, the thing is, like, a lot of them were actually against Hitler's doctrine.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Like at the start, they were fairly, for it, and then obviously things got a little bit out of hand.
Like we said at the beginning, like he proper built up the country and built up himself to be liked at the beginning. Because if he planned it the whole way, which I suppose, do they know if he planned that the whole time? Has there been any evidence of that, or was it just something that? Do you know what I mean? Like,
what his plan to rise to power?
As in, did he? Is it known that his plan to take over, or to take over the world, basically, was that made after he'd already come into power? Or was he planning that before? Because I know he was
planning it before. So he fought in World War One.
Yeah, I know he was part of the National German something, and then
he was basically part of essentially the National Defense League of Germany. So
yeah, something like the German part. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the party, but he basically rose through the ranks in that, and he was a clerk, and that became popular after World War One because he fought in World War One and was told by the German propaganda that they were winning. So all the way up until the point where they surrendered, they were told that they were winning in World War One, right?
Didn't an Allied soldier let him live or something as well in World War One? I heard that story.
Not sure. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, he went back and basically started. So his rise to power, he got obviously within essentially the party, and which later became the Nazi Party.
Yeah, wasn't he sent into that party originally to go against it or something though?
No, I think he saw fascism as a way to rebuild the country, because
he turned it into that.
Yeah, it works basically. His way of rebuilding the country, fascism is very good at rebuilding the ranks of a country from nothing. It's pretty extreme in terms of like workers and all that sort of stuff.
Nobody's Priority Clothing is available right now via Facebook and teesprung.com. Use promo KDPromo to receive 25% off. That's KD Promo with zeros for the O's. But remember, that's zeros in the place of the O's. I've repeated that twice. Help support the channel by buying some sexy ass clothes today. Kd and Kd merchandise coming soon.
Yeah, I think we're very much in a case of like we just want this over.
Yeah. Have you seen the thing about
the vaccine? Yeah.
the new announcement today?
10 million vaccines, hopefully by the end of this month.
Well, 5 million doses, 10 million doses for 5 million people, apparently 2 per person, apparently it seems.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because I swear I think I talked about it with you before, that there was that thing going on, and it must be that study which has now come through and it's been okay. It's like 90% of people got done from it, and no one got any weird side effects like everyone seems to think is going to happen now for some reason.
Yes, there was 90% of people have experienced absolutely no issues with it whatsoever. It's weird though.
90% of people it's actually worked for. From what I've read, there's been no real people that have had any particular issues caused from it.
Okay, so it's 90% successful in the patients that it's been. Okay, that's quite cool.
Which I imagine.
Have you seen all the anti-vaxxers?
Oh man, fuck hell. Oh my
God. It's being
rushed.
I'm not having that. It's like, dude, like if there was a virus that had, if you caught it, there was 100% chance of it killing you, and someone went, I've got a vaccine which is going to work, right? You've got a 90% chance of this vaccine working, right? But I've hashed it together in the space of 6 months, but it's gone through clinical tests and trials, right? So it's considered safe to use, and it will save your life. You know, oh no, I don't want a vaccine, especially if it's been cobbled together within like, it's just like, dude.
Yeah, let's ignore the fact that
the intelligence of the population is going to go up a bit because you're dead.
Yep. Like that's what I said. This is the time when anti-vaxxers need to stick to their guns, because at least the rest of us are cool after that. Then they can be the 10%.
Yeah, it's like you catch it.
Yeah.
You know what? Take your risk. You catch it. If you die, you die. But don't moan to me about it.
It's just fucking. I can't believe it, man. Like, well, no,
so just don't moan about it. Like, it's perfectly fine. I'm happy with you doing whatever you want to do. It's your life. It's your choice. Just don't moan to me about it. Don't moan to me about my choice.
You know what? If it was 100% effective, then I wouldn't care. I'd be like, go and do it. But no, there's still 10%. So no, people are stupid. Stop being stupid. It's not okay to think that. You're dumb. Oh God, I'm angry, Alex. I'm sorry.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. The time, like everything is so unpredictable.
Yeah.
Like literally, like the whole, like everything that we live in at the moment, you cannot choose from one day to the next, like what's going to happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've said. It's kind of like when you're talking about like with the war stuff. Like this does feel like the nearest our generation has gone through to going through that kind of thing. You know?
Yeah.
When you was talking about the war stuff earlier, actually, I thought of one story when you were saying that. Have you heard of the I don't know the actual name, but it's something like the dead soldiers, something like that?
No.
It was I think it was World War II, and actually no, it might have been World War One, because it was mustard gas, and that was World War One, wasn't it? Was that too?
Yeah, mustard gas is World War One. Yeah.
And it was that like there was a load of Allied people in some place, and then there was Germans in some higher place, and they had the wind on their side, so they let out loads of like a big fog or something of it, and it just went down towards them, and then they came down to kill any left over, and all this like obviously like, you know, a very small army compared to what was there before came out, all messed up, still trying to fight them and that, and still battled. I'm guessing they didn't win, but it's a cool story.
Yeah, it's clear. You know what mustard gas is?
Isn't that the stuff that they use on Breaking Bad?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, it's chlorine.
On the first episode.
It's possibly, yeah. It might be, but it's chlorine gas.
Okay, yeah.
So it's what you basically bubble through water to clear swimming pools.
I know what chlorine is, you bum.
Hence why it's called bloody mustard gas, because it's yellow.
Yeah, it definitely was that on Breaking Bad. Then because he went all
Yeah.
yellow. I remember first episode,
Yeah.
he killed him in that RV thing. Killed someone. Have you seen Breaking Bad?
A long time ago. I've watched bits. I've watched bits of it. Again, it's one of these series that I got behind, but I didn't. I got behind it late. So in order to try and catch up, because I'm not one of these people who can sit and watch a box set from start to finish. Like
Really?
Game of Thrones, I joined Game of Thrones about season 7. So my way of catching up, I watched the first and the last episode of each season, which sort of caught me up.
Whoa! What? What? Gee,
What?
I thought then you were saying you can't watch it week by week. I was about to be like, oh, okay, I understand exactly. But then you said, no, I can't watch the whole thing.
No, because I get bored. I literally sat there going, this is like an hour of my life. Like, I can do it if, for example, say Discovery, The Mandalorian, like this week, obviously I can't watch next week's one. So I've got to wait for it. So I can watch this one.
Oh,
and I'm
okay,
like, yeah. And then I'm waiting for the next one. But because I can watch, if you give it me in a box set, I can watch the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And I know that the ending, right, is basically going to be the series finale or whatever. So it's going to be probably the best episode and actually sums up the entirety of the rest of the story anyway. So
with a lot of episodes, with a lot of programs, that would work very well. Game of Thrones, I imagine you were lost. Lost?
No, not so much. No. I sort of, apart from I watched the Thronecast thing as well, which helped me figure out who was dead and who was alive.
Okay.
That was quite useful.
Wait, so you wouldn't watch another episode of it, but you watched the little after show thing?
Yeah, because that's more interesting because people are talking about it as a synopsis. Essentially, I'm not wasting my time to catch up, basically.
I mean, I had to force myself through that program, to be fair, as well. Like the first series, I had to force myself through it.
Even the title sequence is too long.
Oh, yeah, you love it in the end.
That's the issue. Come on. It's literally like 2 minutes of titles, and you're like, ah.
But it's true though, you hate it the first couple of times, and then by the end of the series, you're just singing along every time to it in anticipation. It's
like the guitar. The Fender did limited edition Lannister, like the houses of so they did like Stark and Targaryen.
Targaryen. There was
Lannister, Targaryen, and Stark were the three.
Iron Island. Yeah,
they did basically the 3 houses. So then they did basically the theme, but in guitar music. Like I would have happily sat through that. Like that would have been epic. But no, it was just a bit sort of like there's
little nuances in it as well, though. When they're there, where if you look at it, it gives you little ideas of what's going to happen in the episode too. It changes. And back like the earlier ones, when each episode would only be mainly set in like one place, it would kind of tell you through the beginning. It's like, oh, okay, we're going to do a little bit there, though. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was a geek with it in the end.
Yeah, I moan about the length of the title track, but at the same time, I watched like Star Wars, and that's got probably one of the long. But at least there's like titles running, like.
Oh, Star Wars, yeah.
At least there's words running, so you can sort of read what's going on.
I meant to ask you that when you said it. Is Mandalorian any good? Because that's another one I've been looking at and I haven't known.
It's amazing. It's basically like Wild West meets Star Wars. It's very much like that. It's almost like sort of cowboyish in the way that it's done. There's a lot of like gunslinging type stuff. And
bounty guy who follows.
Yeah. So the Mandalorians are a race of bounty hunters, basically a race of.
It's not that one you saw Boba Fett from the films or anything.
No, but Boba Fett is actually making an appearance within season 2.
Okay. So when is this set then?
It's set about 9 ABY, which is after the Battle of Yavin. So it's about 5 years after the destruction of the Death Star.
So before the one after that, because I don't know how much time was in between the two.
Uh,
Before the first and second. Between the first and second, then.
no,
Before
between
whatever you want to call it.
it's between 6 and 7. So this is
okay.
between. So it's after
Oh,
Return of the Jedi
before
and before The Force Awakens.
Yeah. What did you think
Yeah.
of Last Jedi then? And wait, there's been another one, hasn't there? Rise of Skywalker. But Last Jedi first. What did you think of that?
I thought it was quite. I found episodes 7, 8, and 9 to be almost like closing off a story. I think it was quite good, and I think it came at an opportune moment to introduce a bunch of young people to Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah.
I grew up on Star Wars when they re-released it in the 1990s, so 1995 when they re-released it, and did the whole Dolby digital version and all this, some of the CGI effects and stuff like that.
Isn't that when they made him shoot first, Guido, or whatever it is?
Yeah. So they introduced these little things, and the stormtrooper knocking his head on Death Star with little sound effects and stuff.
I love that.
Like, so I grew up on that, and then obviously just after that, sort of in the early 2000s, you then got Episode 1 coming out.
That was
Phantom Menace, The Clone Wars.
My first intro into it all, and then I got into the later ones after. Yeah. No, I agree with you though in that sense, yeah. But I don't know. I liked number 7, and that was Force Awakens. It was just Last Jedi to me. It was wasn't made well. It just wasn't made well. It was Ryan Johnson, I think, that one. J.D. Abrams did number 7, and then he came back for number 9. Like, my favourite thing about Force Awakens was that Snoke guy, was it? And then he just dies randomly in Last Jedi. But, all right. Pointless.
Yeah. Snoke. Yeah.
Snoke.
The thing that I found, like, I've always adored Star Wars for the space battles. And you didn't see a huge amount of that in 7. You didn't see a huge amount of the space battle thing in The Force Awakens, but you did in the Last Jedi.
Yeah. Was it Rise of Skywalker when you had that bit when the ship went flying through the other ship? Remember that part? Everyone
yeah, that was The Last Jedi. So that was the last bit of The Last Jedi where she basically completely ruins a load of Star Wars canon by on the set we could destroy the Imperial Star Destroyer by going to hyperspace directly at them.
It's cool.
It's like, yes, I know how to destroy a ship. Go to hyperspace. There we go.
Wasn't the whole thing about Carrie Fisher flying through space as well? Wasn't that pretty like, what the fuck is that all about?
Yeah.
Like, what was that about?
Like, everything's all a bit weird.
It was really cool because you saw that, and at the time you knew she died. So you thought, oh, that's a really cool way to ride her out. Gonna float off, look all pretty like that. No, she's flying. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. It's just, I mean, some of it was a bit like, what? But yeah, like
cool stuff though. Like there's that bit because it's at the end of Last Jedi, I think, isn't it? When Luke Skywalker's walking over to fight Kylo Ren, and then obviously he's a projection, but you don't know that at that point. But if you're looking closer, you can see he's got the footprints in the dirt.
Yeah.
Things like that. But then they mess up things like that. Like,
the thing is that if you look at 4, 5, and 6, right, and you look at 7, 8, and 9, it's the same but with a modern canon, basically.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So you've got episode 4 basic synopsis is discover a new bloke who never knew that they were Jedi, who is actually a Jedi. Evil people create a massive super weapon, and the good people blow up said super weapon, right? Episode 7,
Super weapon,
same
big-
thing.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, but you basically still blowing up an exhaust port, right? It's the same destructive. It's the same way you'd have thought that from the first Death Star, that the First Order would have gone. Yeah, we're not going to put in a structural vulnerability
Maybe
to this
not, yeah.
super weapon anymore, especially one that could be destroyed by, I don't know, a proton torpedo. It's like, dude, stop it. And then the second one, you've essentially got the good guys going to hiding on a planet.
Yeah.
So you've got one which and hide in the big bunker. One's on like a desert world. One's on like a frozen wasteland off Hoth. The other one's on like this big sort of sandy, icy, red sand. It's sort of salt world, right? And then the evil guys deploy a load of walking tanks, right?
Which makes no sense.
It's to destroy a shield generator or a door. It's the same thing.
That's a really good point.
The same thing all over again, right?
Yeah.
And then they escape to a transport and they fly off. And then the final one is they're sort of
You forgot
running around. Yeah, they're running around, and then the hero decides to go off on their own in order to follow their path and their destiny of what they're meant to do. And then they end up fighting the evil emperor who is actually behind all of it. Right?
Bad guy and the good guy together as well, essentially.
Yeah. And then the good guy and the bad guy. So essentially, the initial antagonist throughout the thing, Luke Skywalker in the end. Darth Vader turns and throws Emperor Palpatine off a thing. I mean, Ben Skywalker ends up bloody lobbing. Ben Solo or whatever the bloody hell he's calling himself now. Kylo Ren. Ben Solo. It's Ben Solo.
I can't remember. Anyway, in the end, did it become good or bad? I can't remember.
Yeah, it becomes good. They end up kissing, which is really weird.
It's not always like siblings kissing.
Why? They're not siblings though. But you can't have a love interest when he's dying. It's like everyone thought the love interest would be with Finn, right? And Finn does basically sod all from like the second.
That's because he was so busy in the film before running around a casino. Or was that the third film?
That's the second one. So basically, number 8.
I think the thing that ruined it for me though is J.J. Abrams set up all these some storylines like in the 7th one, and then Ryan Johnson, I think it was, in that 8th one. Like there was the whole tease of what's her name, Rey's parents, who they were, and that ended up being no one. Apparently, no one special. And then
just the Emperor.
Was it in the end?
Yeah, she's Emperor Palpatine's daughter somehow.
Oh,
God knows how.
Was that in the 3rd one though?
Well, in the 3rd one, you find that out.
So
yeah,
J.J. Abrams retconned it in the 3rd one then.
Yeah, but like none of it. You have no idea how. Like, how on earth does Emperor Palpatine create a daughter? Like,
I don't want to imagine that.
It's weird. It's just weird, mate. Like, but the thing is, it follows the same storyline. It follows the whole, from the first one is blow up a big super weapon. The second one is, essentially run away from the bad guys, have a big fight with a load of walkers, and a second altercation with stuff. The only thing that they were missing was like Cloud City, right?
No one tied up the legs this time, did they either?
No. And then the third
doing that after they know it works.
Because they hadn't got a speeder. They'd only got like these weird skiff speeder things. So again, speeders versus big lumbering giant walking tanks, right? So it's the same thing, right? and then episode 9, you've basically got, the bit at the end, and then the whole New Republic fleet or the Rebel Alliance's fleet converges upon the whole of like the First Order or the Empire's fleet, and there's some sort of massive plot to destroy everything, and whatever. And there's a big trap, and it's a trap, and there's all that sort of, I could just coffee pills, £5, this fucking code. It's like, at least we hadn't got. I was really annoyed we hadn't got like Abdul Akbar. It was like, honestly, he's amazing. There were times in which Abdul Akbar is the one who was like, it's a trap. That one.
I have no idea who that is.
He's the big fish guy on the Mon Calamari cruiser. He's Mon Calamari.
Oh, I definitely don't know who that. I might know who that is, but God knows the one I'm thinking of looks more like a lizard than a fish.
Yeah, he looks like a lizardy type fish. Big, massive lips. Earlier. Yeah,
okay.
He's got lip fillers. Yeah, he's got lip fillers.
I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you. Good old
he looks like some of these women who are now filling their lips. Yeah,
that's full.
Basically what he looks like. Yeah. So,
I love the imagery as well in the new Star Wars, though, because they kind of made the First Order almost kind of like that one scene. I think it was in the first one. Well, they do it a few times when they're all standing, like at the big weapon. I think it looks like a Nazi kind of thing. You can imagine. Do you know what I mean?
With the banners. Yeah. Well, of course they're called stormtroopers. You got Nazi stormtroopers. The whole Allies and Axis thing runs quite deeply within Star Wars. If you think about it, it is basically space Allies and Nazis. It's the same. It's the same thing. The Empire and space Nazis, right? It's the same thing.
Who would be Hitler?
Technically, Emperor Palpatine.
I was wondering that, but I feel like that wouldn't be the case. I feel like he'd be like the secret. Like Hitler definitely had a secret Hitler, of course. It's bullshit. I know. I'm just trying
like a secret Hitler.
Yeah, why not?
Hitler, but with a bigger tash.
There you go. Oh, that's what I was going to say to you earlier, actually. When you were saying like you don't believe in conspiracy theories and all that, or like Jeffrey Epstein, you get that one. Like you agree with that one? The fact that he was bumped off. Yeah, all the evidence suggests that essentially he was bumped off. Yeah, that's why I love it. Like when you have a conspiracy theory and then it's proved, and it's like all of a sudden it's like not a conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
It's when they're proved, then people stop to like they don't make a point of them. Then
yeah,
that was the most blatant one that I've seen for ages. Though
it's crazy though. You see all these sort of things and stuff happen. And you're just like, yes, here we go again.
That's an interesting thing with the whole.
Probably Rothschild again.
Yeah, I heard something about him recently. Didn't he trying to buy something or pay for something? Or there was something about him recently. Well,
probably. He sort of owns half the world.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what that could have been. No, but I was thinking like with the Epstein thing, I wonder if you believe there's anything to the fact, like that Trump had something to do with the murder, which, I mean, he was his friend. He could easily have had evidence on him. He was the president at the time. I don't know. But
mate, in all fairness, anything, like with that man, anything could happen.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like if Trump turned around and was like, oh, by the way, I'm actually an alien, right? I would not be surprised at this point. Like, honestly.
Should be clever in that case.
Anything. Well, no. Well, you don't know. Maybe he's like a stupid alien.
True. They've got some that are there for talking, some for doing like... He's their comedians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's the opposite of up there for thinking, down there for dancing. It's more like up there for thinking, like... It's like up there for dancing, like down there for molesting more women. It's just like the mind boggles. The mind boggles, mate. Like, honestly, the guy is just.
See, I found him entertaining for a while. I used to see him pop up on wrestling every now and then, shave Vince McMahon's head in the middle of the ring in WrestleMania.
It's the thing that you can't. The thing with Trump, and it's been said by a number of comics, and I completely agree with this statement of that. There's nothing that you can say about Trump that isn't funnier than what he's already saying himself.
Yeah. He's fucking hilarious.
The guy is just a walking shitstorm of hilarity.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that comes out of his mouth is comical
He's
all the time.
He's like an unapologetic version of George Bush in the entertainment sense, anyway.
Yeah, it's the point where I love the fact that Spitting Image came back because I'm a massive fan of satire, and the fact that Spitting Image came back with all these characters that you've got in politics, like Putin and Trump and Boris Johnson.
But I'm waiting just because I can imagine. I'm waiting for them to all come out so I can watch them together because I can't do what you do.
Yeah, and and all the characters like Michael Gove and that sort of Dominic Raab, and all that sorts of like Dominic Raab is basically an alien from Epsilon 5 and stuff like that. It's like, can I eat the baby? It's like, oh, would you fire me? No, I don't think I would. I thought not. It's like it's so good.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Like just a few little clips that I've seen were great. I do feel like they've lost, like, all those kind of burgers now have lost so much just because Trump didn't win. Biden is not as entertaining.
He is, though. If you listen to some of the stuff, like, honestly, I feel quite sorry for Biden because it's almost like he's got dementia in some ways, but he's quite weird. Like he forgot the name of his wife.
Oh,
and called his daughter his dead son's name because his previous wife and son died in a car crash, I think.
Oh, that sounds like even more. Like the main thing I'd heard about that, like the main example side that I saw was Nathan showed me a video of him talking, and he started randomly in a speech talking about his pale white legs and something else.
Yeah,
he
keeps smelling people's hair, like feeling up kids, like feeling their faces. It's very weird. Like he is a bit odd. Yeah. He's an odd sausage, is Joe Biden. But they've got him as this sort of like bit of a stupid granddad character in Spitting Image. They've got Barack Obama in the background.
Life, then.
Yeah, they've got Barack Obama in the background, of course, because obviously Joe Biden was vice president, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Alongside Barack, and but they hate. Apparently, Joe Biden does not care for Boris Johnson that much. He thinks that he is the English variant of Donald Trump.
Well, to be fair, that is exactly true.
Yeah, he's a bumbling idiot. Well, he portrays himself as a bumbling idiot, but actually the man is incredibly clever. Yeah. But he has not been right since COVID. Like, he's gone more off the rails. He's literally gone a bit more mental. He's like, what?
I mean, you know what? Boris. I've been really defensive about, not defensive, but I feel I've been defending the government a lot during all this because people constantly talking about the government failing and that. Well, yeah, they did, of course, but it's a failing that no one expected. We reacted straight away. We did stuff. We weren't as dicky about it like the American side were, but then now I'm like, okay, now, like, the second time it came around, as soon as the hospitals. I saw it on the news. As soon as the hospitals are like, the second wave seems to be coming. We don't know how we're going to deal with it. We haven't got enough beds for these people. Like, hold on. You've had months to. We all knew the second wave was coming. You built a new hospital at the NIA or NEC.
Yeah, we've all got a bit bored of it, I think, is the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, we all want it to go. It's unprecedented. We've no idea how to actually deal with this. No one's got a clue what to do. It's madness, and I think going back to like the article that you read, I mean, the only way that the middle classes or whatever, millennials are getting on the property ladder is through inheritance. It's crazy, really, because if you think about it, it's kind of the only way, because jobs shortages and the living wage and rent prices and everything, like everything is stupidly expensive. You look at there's a number that happen, especially in London. So the people who, for example, happened with some of the boomers, but mostly the sort of generation that came out of World War II.
Yeah.
Buying, so the 1950s, 60s, buying houses in London. They are now, in their 80s, 90s, with
crazy
£1 million houses. They are asset rich and cash poor. They have £1 million house, right?
Yeah.
But they're on a state pension.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mad,
but yeah. Okay. That's where it comes from.
And they bought that house for probably about 10 grand.
So it's not that they're like, they could sell it legally, that it's just you can't find anyone to buy it, you mean?
No, it's basically that it's their house, they're living in it, they're 90, they probably want to stay in it and die in it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because they bought that house in the 1960s for 10 grand, say, and then probably less than that, but they bought that house for peanuts, and now, unbeknown to them, they bought a house which is technically right in the middle of the centre of London, right?
Oh.
And London obviously has grown.
Yeah.
And the property prices have risen, especially to be in the centre of London, right? And they're living fairly near the centre in like a little terraced house, which is actually now seen as quite, a nice niche thing to have by the metropolitan people and cosmopolitan.
They could just sell it, though.
They could, but it's their house,
world.
mate.
Well, but then don't complain about not having any money.
All their memories are in it, though.
Then
this
stay.
is the thing. Huh?
Then stay. It's still
they are staying.
No money.
They are staying. They're just living on a pension. They're just about sort of getting by and living on a pension. Yeah. But basically, as soon as they die, then their estate is like £1 million.
And then
or several £1 million.
Yeah, I didn't even think of inheritance as well, whether it would be like a house.
And then the government takes 33% of that.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah. That's fucking ridiculous in every sense anyway.
So you might get £1 million house, but you're going to have to pay £333,000 in income tax.
Yeah. You can see, though, like with all this kind of stuff, why, and especially with, like, that's just the normal kind of stuff we're talking about more then, but with the corona stuff too, you can see why people have decided to start celebrating Christmas now, to be fair.
But yeah, but at the end of the day, if that's what you've got to live for, there was my arm. I'd see if I could find this.
Have you noticed that? Before you said that it's not just like like people that have decided to do it now. Like all the adverts and all the Christmas stuff's coming out. Like all the adverts are the Christmas adverts now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's coming out early, so people can buy stuff. I mean, the thing is, so my aunt sent me a joke through, and it's no nativity this year because the 3 wise men face a travel ban. The shepherds have been furloughed. The innkeepers shut down under Tier 3 regulations and had a slump in bookings. Santa won't be working as he would break the rule of 6 with Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Donner and Blitzen. And as for Rudolph, with that red nose, he should be self-isolating and taking a test.
Okay. Oh, Jesus.
It's like, and
Nicola Sturgeon. I think it's Nicola Sturgeon, is it? The Scotland woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the one from everything so far. It's mainly Scotland, I've agreed with most of the way through. But she this is great. She announced on telly that for the little kids said, just so you know, Santa Claus is a key worker, so he will be at your houses. That's Irish, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But still, either way, we've had the racism between England and Scotland. Yeah.
See, the thing is, like Nicola Sturgeon is like the opposite of Braveheart at the moment. It's like, we can take your lives and we will take your freedom. It's like, you know, it's basically that's what she is at the moment. But the thing is, it's like the whole. I've been making the joke that basically, like, you know, you can't. You can turn around to your kids this year and be like, "Sorry, there's no presents because Santa's in self-isolation." Like, you know, so you don't have to buy any presents for anyone anyway.
Oh, my kids would fucking break me. I'd be scared if telling my kid Santa wasn't coming. An attack.
By the way, Santa's in self-isolation, and also he can't break your social bubble.
You know what it is? Oh, I want to get a mask with a Santa being attached to it.
Oh,
I
no.
want that. I need that. I'm getting that.
It's as bad as people putting ball on their beard.
Yeah, but I don't have.
You don't look Christmas. You don't look Christmassy. You look like a twat.
I always loved the idea of having a hat on and just taping mistletoe to it. But mistletoe is banned this year. It is banned. You can't have it.
Why? Oh, because of
Awesome. You know
well,
what?
technically you can if you share a fucking house with them.
True. Okay.
For a long-term partner or whatever, or your wife.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like,
you can't just use it on random people in the street, mate.
Mom,
yeah, don't use it on your mum, mate.
Well, yeah, that's kind of
that's Joe Biden territory. What are you doing?
No, that's Donald Trump territory. What are you on about?
It's both.
Hey, definitely Donald Trump rather than Biden. You know, I'm compiling at the moment a little list of, like, I'm going through every single quiz off and getting like the scores of 4th, 3rd, 2nd, or whatever for each one. And I'm going to do like a KD league and have a look who's got the best average, you know, the whole way.
Nice. That'd be quite cool.
I'm interested to see what yours is going to be like, because obviously yours is going to be the most random average.
Yeah. I need to do a plug whilst I'm here.
Plug away.
Before I go, I need to must do a plug. So Wednesday, Callum Pryor of Pirate.
Oh yeah.
Pirate Comedy.
And of sorry, go on, I'll do it after.
And of No Priority Clothing. Is it that one?
Go. Yeah.
There you go. Ta-da!
I won't do the spiel now. It's in the middle of
double plug.
You do your plug.
So he is running on Wednesday from 9 o'clock. There is going to be a stream called Clash of Comics. It is basically like a little improv-y type thing where so it's going to be on what's going to be on Joke Pit. It's going to be live on Facebook. It's going to be live on YouTube and Twitch as well. Yeah, on Pirate_Comedy on Twitch. So you can get that. And there's basically going to be a load of categories and wildcards, and comics are basically going to be competing with jokes on completely random subjects and try to come up with a quick fire joke on the spot. Have, like,
subjects phone at you, and then
yeah. So I'm appearing on that, which I'm quite tense about, in all fairness, because I'm, I get joke ideas all the time, but I'm not so much improv. Like my stuff is self-deprecation. I take the mick out myself and observations and things that I do. All right. So, obviously getting a random subject and going, quick, make a joke is like,
I wouldn't say think of it like that. I'd say, like, because you're quite good at just chatting on, because, like, in a nice way, like we just chat on this, so just talk about it like you would, innit? Be a lot harder on stage, I'd feel.
Yeah, I think, it's just chatting about it and make general observations about something is fairly easy, as opposed to trying to come up with a one-liner on
is
set.
It specifically what you got to do? Is it specific jokes you got to come up with?
I think so. Well, I think it's jokes and or like, you can have up to 5 fairly quick fire, one-liney type jokes, or you can have one longer joke or whatever. So I don't know, basically just coming up with something that's quite funny based upon a subject that is given to you, like a completely random subject. So yeah, that's going to be quite interesting. Thankfully, we're given some of the topics beforehand, so we can get an idea as to what we're doing, but there will be wild cards as well. So that's going to be really, really cool and really fun. So 9:00 on Wednesday to watch that. So that will be really, really cool. So yeah, that's my little plug. I was recently told to someone, really annoying person, turned out to be in the end, but someone said, I was chatting on the old internet dating. Someone asked me, do you have any blonde jokes that I haven't heard before, right? So I don't do jokes really, but I decided to try and create one on the spot. So I created a blonde joke on the spot.
Got it.
Right. So blonde walks into a hairdresser's and she says, "Oh, I want a fake tan on my hair." And the hairdresser looks at her and goes, "We don't do that, madam. Plus you're already tanned anyway, so I don't understand what you're asking for." Blonde says, "Yeah, but this is a natural tan. I've been out. I've spent hours and hours in the sun, and no matter how long I spend out in the sun, my hair just keeps getting lighter." And hairdresser turns around and says, "Well, yeah, but your hair doesn't tan." She goes, "Well, what about those fucking gingers?"
Fucking silly.
I made it up on the spot, like literally on the spot. I was just like, ding.
I liked it from the bit before you said, just the whole concept of it's, just truck size. Like, oh shit, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You didn't think about that back then. All right then, man. Anything else we need to cover before we get off?
No, that's it, man. Like I've plugged what I want to plug. Sweet.
What's that drunken side quest on? Is that just on the general stuff you'd imagine?
It's on Facebook. It's on Facebook. So if you put in the drunken side quest, it'll come up.
Cool.
It's really funny, mate. They're really, really good. And when we're all out of lockdown, Liverpool's back to normal and whatever, they're gonna have me on doing a little thing and stuff. So that would be really, really cool.
Yeah, man. Oh, thank you very much for that, then. As always, man, I appreciate it. And let me know before the quiz as well if you're able to do it next week.
Yeah, will do. Sound.
Cool.
See you later.
Thank you very much, man. Take care.
Cheers. See ya.
Bye.